To let the workers enjoy affordable meals, you opened a 5 yuan self-service restaurant and even boldly claimed the tender beef and sirloin could be eaten freely. Everyone thought you were a fraud. Some even said you were selling real beef, and you were just eating the egg tarts your dad made. But how would they know? You weren't even trying to make money from this. The reason was simple, you had linked something called the most powerful restaurant system. As long as you could collect customers' emotional value, the system would give you all kinds of dishes and rewards. Put simply, the happier the customers ate, the more shocked they were, and the more you earned. The first task released by the system required you to collect 10,000 points of emotional value. After completing the task, you received a newbie gift pack. When you opened it, you found 500 servings of tender beef, unlimited white rice, and a scene in your mind that looked like a game inventory. Inside, there were neatly arranged bowls of white rice and 500 servings of beef. The moment you thought about it, a plate of glistening, fragrant oil appeared, steaming hot. The steaming tender beef instantly appeared on the table in front of you. You immediately picked up your chopsticks and tried it, and after that bite, you just couldn't stop. After eating 3 big bowls of rice, you finally put down your chopsticks with satisfaction and wiped the oil from the corners of your mouth. Delicious. This is absolutely the most amazing tender beef I've ever eaten in my life. The next morning, you came to the restaurant, dumped all the rice in the system into a large insulated rice tom, and further sliced and stir-fried 4 dishes of ingredients, dividing them into 4 insulated containers. Everything was ready. You opened your phone and shot a short video facing the camera. The 5 yuan self-service restaurant is now open. Today we've prepared stir-fried potato slices, stir-fried cauliflower, and this final serving of tender beef. All dishes are 5 yuan unlimited, and rice is unlimited. Welcome, everyone, to come and try it. After posting the video, you casually started a live stream. At first, the live stream was quiet and deserted, but before long, the number of viewers suddenly surged online, and the stream shot up to more than 700 people. You felt something was off, so you flipped through the comments, and that's when you found the reason. It turned out that a blogger with millions of fans, food blogger Tang JKK, had posted a comment in your live stream room. Bro, is what you said in the video real? 5 yuan, and you can just eat tender beef whenever you want. The pot instantly exploded. Question marks flooded the screen. Old Keen, are you crazy? How could it possibly be real? For just 5 yuan, you still want to eat tender beef? Either you are insane, or I am. You glanced at the barrage, didn't take it to heart at all, and calmly replied to the camera. Teacher Keen, hello. What the video says is of course true. For just 5 yuan, all the vegetarian dishes, beef, and rice are all you can eat. Before long, footsteps came from outside the shop. When you looked up, you saw 2 people walking toward you, one of them. The young man holding the camera rig was walking in front, and the one beside him was none other than the famous Tang Ji Keen Care herself. What a pain. This place really isn't easy to find. Keen Care wiped the sweat from her forehead, stopped at the entrance of your little restaurant, and looked up. After glancing at the sign, she saw that Shen's 5 yuan self-service restaurant was the place. She turned around and saw you coming out to greet her. Her eyes lit up at once, and she said with a smile, "You're pretty handsome. You've got real talent." You smiled, took the initiative to hand her a glass of cold water, and then poured one for the cameraman as well. "Thanks, Boss Shen. No need to be polite. Go ahead. I know why you're here. Do you need me to turn off the live stream?" Keen Care shook her head. No need. Tell you what, just film as usual. If you need to, take clear shots of the dishes so people don't end up saying online that I paid you to come and make an ad, and that we're acting. Hearing this, Keen Care broke into a bright smile. Boss Shen isn't that old, but he's very down to earth. Old Keen, like that. How about this? I see you're live streaming too. Let's just use your phone to stream today. What do you think? With Keen Care's traffic, the number of people in your live stream room shot up like crazy, and very quickly it broke 8,000. Keen Care walked into the shop, looked around carefully, and nodded. Not bad. The place is a little small, but the tables, chairs, and floor are all pretty clean. However, he immediately changed the subject and brought up the question on his mind. Boss Shen, who usually comes to eat at your restaurant? I've been here almost 20 minutes, so why haven't I seen a single customer? Indeed, it's already 12:05 p.m., the golden lunch rush for working people. But in this little restaurant of yours, there isn't even a shadow of a customer. The viewer in the live stream are starting to speculate too. Could it be that the food is too hard to eat, and that's why no one wants to come? Just as you were about to explain, there was a loud bang at the door, and several familiar footsteps sounded. Keen Care raised an eyebrow. No, the first batch of customers for today has arrived. 4 construction workers walked in, still covered in the dust of the job site. Boss Shen, a few of us are back. Why does it smell so good? What good stuff did you make today? Keen Care suddenly realized, a 5 yuan self-service meal. What could possibly be more attractive than these workers? What, but could this really make money? He looked at you with a silent, meaningful glance. And at that moment, you were smiling warmly as you greeted a few regular customers. Uncle Zhou, have a seat by your old spot. You said your stomach hasn't been feeling well lately, so I prepared you a pot of warm water. Uncle Zhang, you've got quite an appetite. I've already put out the ice water and ice cubes for you. Help yourself like it's your own place. At that moment, Keen Care suddenly felt something radiating from you, something extremely rare in today's society. A sense of human warmth. It was a quality many merchants simply didn't have. Taking advantage of the gap while a few construction workers went to scan the code and pay, Keen Care couldn't help but lean over to you and ask in a low voice. Boss Shen, do you not restrict these construction workers from coming in? When you heard that, you were slightly stunned. Furrowing your brows, you asked back. What do you mean? Look down on workers. Keen Care hurriedly waved her hands. How could that be? My ancestors were all from peasant backgrounds. What I mean is, these workers have been doing physical labor all morning, and they usually have a pretty big appetite. A lot of self-service restaurant owners worry that they'll eat too much, so they try to find ways to limit them from coming in. Little boss Shen, not only do you have self-service, you are only charging 5 yuan, and you're not afraid of losing money. Think about it, get your attitude right and be serious about it. I've been running this restaurant for 2 years now. To me, Uncle Zhou and the others aren't just customers, they're also my friends, my elders. As long as someone is willing to come eat here, it's always 5 yuan. The price will never go up. Everything I do is just to be able to live with a clear conscience. As soon as she said that, Skincare froze in place. It had been a good 10 seconds without coming back to her senses, and the livestream's viewer count had already climbed to 13,000. Most of the audience had come in skeptical, but after you said that, the tone in the comments quietly began to reverse. At that moment, Uncle Zhou and the other three went into the back kitchen and expertly filled their plates to the brim. One bowl of rice, then she brought her own lunchbox over to the 5 insulated containers. What should we eat today? That dry pot cauliflower last time had me completely obsessed. It still has to be something spicy and tangy. Shredded potatoes taste good and go well with rice. I can easily polish off 4 bowls of plain rice on its own. Hard work just hits different. No, why do I smell meat? How could that be? What, do you think this is some fancy restaurant? Old Fang, I think you are starving and imagining things. I really did smell it. It's almost the same as the shredded chili pork my daughter-in-law made last night. Hey, old Fang, I think you're really so hungry you are seeing things. Fine, stop arguing. Hurry up and open it. My stomach's already growling. The few of them said no more nonsense and opened the lids of the insulated containers one by one. Dry pot cauliflower. I knew there'd be this one. So good. Dry pot potato slices. This one goes well with rice too. Minced meat and eggplant. Did I miss anything? Hahaha, is this from the new year? Wait, am I seeing things? What is this? At the same time, a string of system prompts kept dinging in your mind, but you still hadn't fully figured things out. Still, you felt a quiet joy inside and immediately headed for the back kitchen. Skincare shot the cameraman a look, and the two of them hurried over. But after only a few steps, Skincare's foot suddenly stopped. From the back kitchen came a rich, savory meat aroma that forcefully invaded his entire nasal cavity. As a veteran chef with more than 30 years in the kitchen, Skincare could tell from that smell, almost immediately, that one of the ingredients was the fragrance of premium yellow beef mixed with green peppers. It wasn't greasy at all. Just smelling it made you want to eat. His eyes were almost instantly drawn over. Inside the insulated container was a big box full of seared beef tendons, fragrant and mouth-watering, with excellent presentation. In the live stream, the audience exploded. The bullet comments in front turned to shock, and then a flood of skeptical comments poured in. You can tell at a glance your kids who've never run a shop before. Let me tell you, this kind of beef tendon dish is usually made with duck meat. No one would be stupid enough to think a merchant would really use actual beef. The live stream, which had been quiet at first, also heard someone helping you speak. Even if Little Shen's boss used duck meat, isn't 5 yuan still a pretty good deal? You seem to have gradually figured out how emotional value works. He turned his head and looked at Skincare as he said that. Sister Keen, weren't you here to check out the shop? Why not pay first, and then we can all sit down and eat together? That's right, the system's description makes it very clear. For people who don't pay, the system judges. If you don't count as a customer, then naturally you won't generate any valid emotional value. Skincare listened, nodded quickly, took out her phone, and went with the cameraman to scan the code. But while they were away paying, Uncle Zhou went over to greet a few people in person. He immediately put on a somewhat embarrassed smile. Little Shen, seriously, I'm sorry. Is this beef something you prepared especially for those 2 customers just now? You showed a warm smile. Uncle Zhang, you are overthinking it. I specifically prepared this spicy pepper beef brisket for you. As he spoke, he directly took their lunch boxes and filled each one to the brim with spicy pepper beef brisket, packing it tight. Zhou. The uncle still clearly didn't dare believe it. They stood there, unwilling to take the lunch boxes, and you waved your hand impatiently, saying, don't overthink it. This is all lab-grown meat, it's not worth much. Only then did several people half-believingly, half-doubtfully, take it over. Skincare walked over to your side. She had just listened to the whole thing very clearly, and this beef meat's color and sheen, this rich, fragrant yellow beef aroma, who would dare say this is lab-grown meat? Old Keen can slap that person right across the face, and you are obviously telling a kind lie. Skincare held up a big thumbs up at you. Boss, are you serious? Skincare said as she served the rice. Little Shen, to be honest, there's nothing wrong with you at all. Even though this is our first time meeting, and my old Keen already feels in his heart that you are a good person. After he finished the meal, he straightened up and looked at you. But as you know, I, Old Keen, am ultimately a shop livestream host. Whether the food is good or not, I have to give an honest review. That is respect for the audience, and respect for you too. You nodded, of course. Everything should be said based on the facts. Skincare hurriedly picked up a strip of beef tongue and put it in his mouth, while the cameraman beside him quickly aimed the camera at his face, letting the audience capture every expression of his in real time. The moment that strip of beef tongue entered his mouth, Skincare's eyes widened, his expression became extremely exaggerated, and his eyebrows shot up together. The cameraman silently cried out that this was bad. He only saw Skincare chewing for more than a dozen bites. And then slowly opened his eyes again, his face clearly showing some lingering hesitation. Looking into the camera, he said word for word. Top quality, absolutely top quality. Old Kim, I'm not exaggerating at all, the strip of beef tongue, not to mention 5 yuan, even if it sold for 500 or 5,000, it would be worth that price. As soon as he said that, the audience in the live stream was stunned. Skincare had no time to say more, he just wanted to hurry and finish rating this bowl of beef tongue. So tender and juicy, with such a rich milky aroma. The juices from the beef tongue were tightly locked inside. One bite and the beef Juices, mixed with a unique sauce, burst in his mouth. Enough said, enough said. I need to hurry and eat. As the words fell, Keen Care held a large bowl of spicy beef tongue and hurried out, and you immediately received a stream of emotional prompts in your mind. At this time, the cameraman was still standing there holding the pole, looking troubled. You glanced at him and said with a smile. So, are you hungry too? Why don't I get you a bowl too? Let's go eat together. The cameraman Zheng Zhong nodded solemnly. Troublesome. By then, the barrage in the live stream room had already exploded. With Keen Care's endorsement, everyone gradually believed it. 5 Yuan, to be able to eat so much spicy beef tongue, and for it to taste so unbelievably good too. The skeptical voices were getting fewer and fewer. Your mind kept receiving prompt after prompt about emotional value. The cameraman beside you, a tall, handsome man named Meng Yining, kept chiming in from time to time. Damn, that's amazing. It's really delicious, and similar exclamations. Just then, the system prompted that the task was completed, and it awarded you 2 million in store. Expansion funds. Right after that, tasks 2 and 3 were released at the same time. You immediately asked Uncle Zhou and the others to check whether there were any nearby shops for transfer. Unfortunately, none of them were clear about it. At this time, Keen Care said he happened to have a friend whose shop was being transferred, and after some communication, the other side quoted a transfer fee of 2.1 million, but you only had 2 million on hand. Keen Care helped negotiate some more, and in the end he sent back a message. I can get you 2 million, but there's one condition. You have to make him a serving of Dongpo pork that satisfies him, as long as it can match today's spicy beef tongue in deliciousness. You agreed immediately, because in the system's emotional value spin, the chance of drawing Dongpo pork for this dish is as high as 10%. The problem isn't big. At 7 that evening, you closed the shop on time, returned home, and opened the system panel to check. The remaining emotional value was 4,260. In just one day, your emotional value had shot up to a terrifying number. The system provided spicy beef tongue really was incredibly delicious. Even if the emperor came, he'd have to finish it cleanly and properly. And only after contributing shock and satisfaction could he leave. Of course, today was the first day the beef tongue was put on the menu, so the effect was thus explosive. Next, if a large number of new customers didn't pour in over the next few days, and if the emotional value didn't slash by 80%, you wouldn't think too much about it. Silently, you opened the emotional value spin wheel. The beginner emotional value spin wheel. Well then, let's gamble. After drawing 30 times in a row, you finally drew Dongpo pork, and the remaining rewards were fried rice with shrimp, egg, and peas, 200 servings, honey glazed lamb juice, 300 servings, tomato and egg stir fry, 600 servings, braised pork slices, 200 servings. $44,000 in cash. Go into the storeroom, take out a plate of Dongpo pork and a bowl of rice, sit down and eat slowly. This Dongpo pork food really is strange. 1 piece is just right, but 2 pieces make you sick. Once you eat it, for at least half a month you won't want to touch it again. But after half a month, before long, you can't help craving it again and get so anxious you're in a panic. 10 minutes later, you lean back in a long chair with your belly patted, utterly satisfied. It's really delicious. The next day, Keen Care brought an old man in his 70s into your restaurant. Old Zhou, let me introduce you. This is Shen from film and television. A tall man with an extraordinary air, Keen Care said with a bright smile. Shen, you nodded to the old man. Hello, Mr. Zhou. Just call me the same as Sister Keen. Shen is fine. As for what kind of extraordinary air, just think of Keen Ji as making a joke. The old man's name is Zhou Changshan. He is also sizing you up, especially your hands. He paused for a long time. Then a trace of dissatisfaction flashed in his eyes. This person really talks big. He's not very decent. Hasn't he got any self-awareness? Old man, I only found out after eating it. You sensed Zhou Changshan's impatient attitude, and he didn't say much. He slowly walked into the back kitchen. Keen Care helplessly shook her head, then turned to scold this old friend of hers. You are such an old fool. The fire is still this strong. Zhou Changshan, however, didn't think he had done anything wrong. I just looked at this young man's hand carefully. The tiger's mouth, and his heart, not even a callus on his hand. Clearly, he couldn't possibly be more than in his early 20s. Do you think he can make Dongpo pork that satisfies me? I've been here once already. I was sincere enough, but you brought in this little young guy to fool me. Why do you think he can satisfy me? I think he must have stuffed something good into you, right? Just then, you came out of the back kitchen carrying a tray and placed the contents in front of the 2 of them on the table. 2 bowls of rice, 2 pairs of chopsticks, and 4 pieces of Dongpo pork. Zhou Changshan looked at the 2 pieces of Dongpo pork in front of him and frowned. Frowning, Shen, you may not know this, old man, I do love Dongpo pork, but at a meal I usually only eat 1 piece. Keen Care smiled and explained to Shen, this really isn't this old man being deliberately difficult. It's hard to say. Don't look at how thin he is, but his blood is abundant. When he eats Dongpo pork, he really only ever has 1 piece. You nodded to show you understood. Only then did Zhou Changshan solemnly pick up the Dongpo pork in front of him. He has a habit when eating Dongpo pork. He looks at it, turns it over twice, and if any one of those 3 steps displeases him, he won't even let it grow old, and the piece of Dongpo pork before him was rosy and bright in color, with just the right balance of fat and lean. The sugar glaze shone at the top, its shape neat and square, the veining superbly. Excellent. Zhou Changshan's expression improved a little. It seemed that old Keen wasn't completely fooling himself after all. This young man set aside the culinary skill for now. His knife work and eye for selecting ingredients were pretty good. Right away, he picked up the Dongpo pork and brought it to his nose, closed his eyes, and carefully savored it. A few seconds later, he suddenly opened his eyes and gave a soft praise. Good, Shen, brother, the sauce tastes pretty good. The richness of the yellow wine, the mellow depth of the sauce, and the fresh aroma of the soy sauce blend just right. The fragrance of the wine is faint, but not overpowering. The meat juices are fragrant, and the soy sauce balances very well. It also has star anise, cinnamon peel, and other spices. The aroma is layered and very three-dimensional. By the end, his eyes were even shining a bit, and the chopsticks were almost unconsciously going to his mouth, waiting. You grabbed his arm. This guest, our shop is small, and we operate on a pay-first basis. Please pay before you eat. Zhou Changshan's eyes narrowed slightly. Silently, he put down his chopsticks. I don't know how much you're going to charge here. He clearly thought you were going to rip him off. Your sign at the door said, you can go take a look yourself. Zhou Changshan let out a cold snort and turned to leave. When he came back, his expression was a little puzzled. $5. Of course, as long as it's $5, you pause for a moment and casually add, it's not expensive. If you're willing to give me something good, these $5 can be waived. Zhou Changshan's old face immediately flushed red. He naturally heard the double meaning in your words. Right then, he pulled out his phone and honestly scanned the code on the spot, then let Keen Care do it too. After the code was scanned and the payment completed, Zhou Changshan once again turned his attention to the braised pork in front of him. He picked up his chopsticks, lightly poked the dark red lean meat on the piece, and the slices gently separated along the grain. He exposed the amber-colored fat layer in the middle and nodded with satisfaction. Your Dongpo pork has 3 distinct layers, but they're perfectly separate, and the springiness is just right. It doesn't fall apart in your mouth, but it also isn't so tough that you can't chew it. Before he could finish, he suddenly stood up, turned to face you, and moved in for a slight attack. Sorry, I was the old fool just now. I spoke too harshly and was too full of myself. I shouldn't have lectured you behind your back. You were just hesitating and not being proactive. That can't all be blamed on you. If I were in your place, I'd be suspicious too. Zhou Changshan straightened up, and the expression on his face had already softened a lot. You're not bad, old man. I really like that shop. It's yours now, and you don't even need 2 million. 180,000 is fine. The missing 20,000, just treat it as a gift from me, old man. As he spoke, he sat back down and looked at the Dongpo pork in front of him. Old man, I really am a little hungry. So let me try it. Shen, your knife work is amazing. He picked up the piece of Dongpo pork, put it in his mouth, and took a light bite. On the neatly cut piece of meat, he bit off a tiny gap, and the Dongpo pork went in. In that instant, the top layer of fat melted as soon as it hit his mouth, yet it wasn't greasy at all. Instead, a few layers of gelatin with a distinctive, almost beefy milky richness followed closely behind, and the gelatinous layer between the fat and lean meat slowly burst open in his mouth. The rich aroma of the thick meat and the lingering depth of yellow wine wafted out together. Finally came the lean meat, soaked through with sauce and unbelievably tender and fresh. Zhou Changshan couldn't help but widen his eyes. His breathing quickened. Shen, did you really make this? You smiled and said, not me. It was actually made by my system. Shen was still pretty humorous. Zhou Changshan burst out laughing, then sighed, saying that if he hadn't tasted it in person, he never would have believed it. Who would have thought there was such delicious Dongpo pork in this world, compared with your Dongpo pork? Old man, all the hard times I've been through before, what were they for? He slammed the table hard and shouted. A godsend, absolutely the last word in divine cuisine. Zhou Changshan insisted on selling the restaurant to you for 1.2 million. No matter how hard he tried to stop him, he couldn't. He boldly claimed that such delicious Dongpo pork should only sell for 5 yuan, and that Zhou Changshan and Keen Care should come eat there. The latest video of Keen Care's shop visit, always 40% off, was finally posted. In less than an hour, the comment section was on fire with praise. But some people said Keen Care was manipulating the hype in the flood of comments. One comment's likes shot up in an instant, reaching first place. The user called himself modest. Good words, tomorrow I am coming to fake a late night return home. You opened the emotion value dashboard and saw that you'd gained over 20,000 emotion points again today. You didn't say a word and directly started a 20 pull gacha. The prizes you pulled were 350 portions of side dishes, including 350 portions of 5-flour pork and roasted pork, 200 portions of natural spare ribs, 300 portions of pepper salt shrimp, 62,000 yuan in cash, and yet that mysterious dish, priced at 8,000 emotion points. That golden little square on the spinning tray still hadn't appeared. My mind is crying out, what dish is it, exactly? At noon on the 4th day of the 8th lunar month, Zhu Qian, a sophomore at the Agricultural University, and his roommate Zhou Peng walked toward your restaurant with great enthusiasm. The only target is to take a day off. Meanwhile, you are sitting in the restaurant, looking at the elderly Mr. Zhou across from him, stuffing himself with big chunks of Dongpo pork and his mouth full of sauce. He could not help but advise, sir, please eat more slowly. Your blood lipids are at most 2 chunks a day. If you keep eating like this, I'll really have to keep an eye on you. Mr. Zhou wiped his mouth, looked very pleased, and kneaded his full belly. He sighed, delicious, still just as delicious. Old man, no matter how much I eat, I won't get tired of it. He paused, then let out a breath. That means my grandson is having a very bad day. Otherwise, I'd have to make him worship you as his little god and take you as his teacher. If he could learn even 1/10 or 1/20th of your skills, old man. Even in my dreams, I could wake up laughing. I've already learned quite a lot about your situation with Mr. Zhou. Mr. Zhou is the vice principal of the Agricultural University, and his family has a grandson who is a sophomore there. He also has a granddaughter who is in 3rd year of junior high school. His family can truly be said to be extremely happy and fulfilled. The only thing he is not quite satisfied with is that there isn't a younger family member who has inherited his culinary skills. Just then, with a bang, the door was pushed open, and the family members in the live stream room came in. We're here. Let's first show everyone what the store looks like inside. A young man holding a phone walked in, and the camera panned around 4 times. The restaurant's environment is pretty nice, though. There's even a poster here. Let me show everyone. It says, today, 5 yuan self-service. The dishes are as follows. Zhou Peng recited half of them. His voice suddenly stopped, and he instinctively rubbed his eyes. Only then did he say to the audience in the live stream room, brothers and sisters. The host's eyes didn't spend any money, did they? That's what everyone saw. It should be the same as what the host saw. This 5 yuan self-service restaurant. 7 dishes were arranged, and not a single vegetable dish was missing. How much technology and how lively must this be? The love band just gave up on the day. He walked up to the two of them and said in a gentle tone, hello. Hello, he said in a calm voice. Today there are elderly relatives in the store, so please don't make too much noise. What would you two like to eat? Just take whatever you want, 5 yuan per person. What's there to be unhappy about when you pay first and eat later? You can tell me anytime. Zhou Peng glanced at the phone in his hand. Then he added, are you live streaming? Excuse me, thank you. I have a customer in my shop who doesn't like being seen on camera. Zhou Peng had already vaguely guessed it. Sure enough, I was right. This kid is clearly afraid of me live streaming. Seeing his family's poor quality food exposed, he silently backed down a step. With an apologetic look on his face, he earnestly said, Mr. Zhou, boss, this is my brother, my grandpa's grandson. He recently broke his leg and is in the hospital. We urgently need a large sum of money, but there's really nothing we can do. We can only live stream to crowdsource the money. I swear my camera only filmed the dishes. I definitely didn't film your customer. You heard me out. He could only say helplessly, okay. Sorry to trouble you all. Please wait a moment. I'll go ask my customer. You just turned around and walked a few steps. Then there was a muffled thud behind him, and Zhu Qian took Zhou Peng's punch. Just as he was about to start cursing, he saw Zhou Peng suddenly clasp his fists and bow. He shouted, my father is dead. The child knew he was wrong, and Zhu Qian said in a low voice, angrily. You were setting up my grandpa like this, and you're not afraid he'll hear. This year, you were assigned to take a leave from work once again. Zhou Peng grinned, a playful smile on his face. How could I possibly be with you and your little grandson? Just as he was complaining, he saw you leave. After only a few steps, he stopped in front of a table, where an elderly man was sitting. With his back to them, his face was hidden from view. But that head of white hair and the tall, sturdy frame. The more Zhu Qian looked, the more familiar it seemed. Look closely. Does the old man sitting there look like my grandpa or not? It can't be, right, grandpa? How could a deputy principal possibly be standing in a self-service buffet restaurant like this one for 5 yuan? It's way too down to earth. Xiaoxiu, you must be seeing things. At that moment, Zhu Changshan slowly turned his head, revealing his profile. So that's really how my grandfather got here. Zhu Qian stared, and Zhou Peng was stunned too. Without thinking, he blurted out, what does that mean? Could it be that the old man was tricked into coming here? Zhu Qian shouted once for them to hurry up and follow. Just as you were about to speak, you saw those two men. They came charging over in a rush. Are you really that desperate? I've already agreed not to let my guest hear this. Before he could finish, the young man pushed you aside. He rushed up to Zhu Changshan and shouted at the top of his lungs. Grandpa, I'm here to save you. Zhu Qian shielded his own grandfather behind him, then turned to Zhou Peng and growled. Hurry up and live stream it. Exposed. Zhou Peng immediately pointed the camera at it. Holding a thermal box labeled, Ziran braised ribs, he shouted toward the live stream room. Viewer, take a close look. Then came the moment of the fight, and the words fell out. He flipped open the lid of the thermal box, revealing at least 100 pieces of glistening golden braised ribs. Packed tightly together, they looked like a little mountain, shining with a tempting oily sheen. Just looking at them was enough to stir anyone's appetite. Zhou Peng fell silent for several seconds. Then he moved to the next thermal box, which contained salted prawns and peppers. When he opened the lid again, the result was beyond what anyone expected. What met the eye was a box full of salted prawns and peppers. Zhou Peng was completely silent. He walked over to the remaining thermal box and found beef with green peppers. Stir-fried pork belly with tomatoes. Boiled sliced pork with shredded green peppers. Fried rice with ham, shrimp, and egg. He opened them one by one. Every dish was packed to the brim, causing the live stream comments to explode instantly. Damn, the boss actually came through for real. At my place, in a 5th-tier city, 50 yuan wouldn't even buy these dishes. On one side, Zhou Peng was on the verge of a breakdown. On the other, Zhu Qian was already being scolded by his grandfather so badly he felt utterly ashamed. You unfilial brat. Old man, my food is superb. Are you trying to ruin me? Hurry up, this whole thing is for. Zhu Changshan pulled away the tray and, after listening, it was both infuriating and funny. So you think Shen is the black-hearted boss? I felt like I was being blackmailed when I heard that old man speak on the spot. He said you're his forgotten acquaintance, and that the two of them must apologize to you. And they even had to address you as Brother Shen. You hurried over and stopped them. In the end, Mr. Zhu Qian even called out, Brother Shen, and let it go. Then you told the two of them to go scan the QR code and pay, and Zhu Qian came into the back kitchen. Looking at the tempting dishes all over the table, he stared in surprise. A sense of shame surged in Mr. Shen's heart over this college student. Should I give you some money so that when the time comes, you don't close down your place? No need to wave your hand. Everyone who comes to my place is here for a meal anyway, and it's only 5 yuan. You turn around and look at Zhou Peng. See you, Zhou. You can also restart the live stream and let Zhou Peng speak. He flashed a big grin. Nice, bro. You should definitely help promote it for me properly. Help my little shop grow bigger and stronger, and create more glory. It hasn't even been a year, and the street has already become the only online restaurant that actually doesn't need. This place is going to close down very soon, Mr. Shen. Is it a funding issue? Zhu Qian was a little worried. No, it's because I'm going to change locations next week. You casually picked up a cup of sheep soup milk cap, took a sip, and tasted the mango sweetness and the refreshing lightness of the thin milk foam. Then it burst in your mouth, followed by the warm sweetness that spread afterward. It's very appetizing. Zhu Qian and Zhou Peng are both strong and healthy. He also followed suit, picked up a cup of sheep soup milk cap, and took a sip. Wow, so refreshing, so refreshing. It's hard to imagine. A cup of sheep soup milk cap can actually taste this good. While a few people were eating and chatting, time passed before they knew it. You'll notice that this kid Zhou really has the talent for live streaming. On one hand, he introduces the dishes and flavors with style and flair. On the other hand, he can also... On top of that, you can still thank the one who sent the gift in all sorts of fancy ways. The main one is old Shen. Your food really is top-notch, absolutely delicious. I'm definitely telling the truth. The person hosting the live stream was sworn in by my mom. This hot pot place of old Shen's is my whole life. It's one of the best hot pot places in the country. Give it some thought. He decided that after the new store opens, Zhou will come over to help you attract customers on the live stream. 3 days later, you successfully moved into the new restaurant on schedule. Then he completed main quest 2 and got 500,000 in cash. The mood value mall and the system level storage space both updated, and the system also released a new mission. When you open the newly unlocked mood value mall, welcome to the mood value mall. The daily discount mall is now unlocked. Regular dishes mall, special dishes mall. The regular dishes mall only has some fairly standard dishes, while the special dishes mall has only one kind of thing. The real happiness water appearance. The ingredients are the same as Coke, there's no difference at all. But after drinking it, the person will only tell the truth for the next 10 minutes. Exchange price, 30,000 mood points per bottle. The daily discount mall randomly gives you a discount and randomly offers 10 dishes to choose from. While you're hesitating over whether to buy dishes directly in the mood value mall or go spin the wheel and try your luck. On the other side, in the ward at First Hospital, Zhang Jiancheng was lying on the hospital bed, his left wrist wrapped in a bandage. He asked the daughter-in-law who had just rushed over from her own fried dish shop, "Sis-in-law, what's that big restaurant next door selling now? Would that affect our business?" Zhang Jiancheng is the owner of a jade-themed stir-fry restaurant, holding up a sign advertising freshly made stir-fry. In reality, everything they sell is pure, first-rate, naturally grown jade-style dishes. The only exception is a 99 yuan gin lobster. That's his unique specialty. Buy some cheap dead lobsters, soak them in industrial lactic acid used for toilets, then add some lobster-specific tech seasoning to make them smell good. Then put in some tech seasoning made especially for lobsters, that flavor. Call it a specialty dish. Other than occasionally making customers sick, there's no problem with the taste. As for the lobster slime, aside from the texture, there's no problem at all. It's just that doing it this way carries the risk that if customers find out, it could easily break the hand that's wrapped in bandages. That left hand wrapped in bandages is the best proof. His daughter-in-law, Zhou, has seen right through him. The boss is a scruffy kid in his 20s. What kind of 5 yuan self-service restaurant is this? Just listen to you, you're really cracking me up. A store this big selling something for 5 yuan. Zhang Jiancheng is having a hard time believing a store this big would actually do that. A dine-in set meal for 5 yuan. This kid. Isn't that even more undercutting than Old Lee? He's lowered the price. He's suddenly gotten serious. We'll check it out next month on the 10th. We're just the ones being considered for the top 10 restaurants. My uncle just leaked a little insider info to me in the comments section. Starting tomorrow, we are going to do an undercover inspection. Zhang Jiancheng seems to have forgotten the doorway for a moment. Keep explaining it to your wife. When you get back, remember to take the 99 yuan lobster set meal off the shelves. Don't throw those dead lobsters away. Put them in the fridge at home and freeze them, along with the pre-made dishes. One by one, after we've secured a spot in the top 10 restaurants. Then take them out again and sell them. Keep giving Zhou likes. Honey, you're really too smart. If we get into the top 10 restaurants, we can still raise the price. Originally, the 99 yuan 10 gin lobster would later be sold as a 99 yuan 5 gin lobster. By then, my heart will be about to drop into my stomach. What else is Zhang Jiancheng thinking about again? Forget about our microwave cooker big kitchen for now. Go to the market and buy some fresh vegetables. He was thinking it over and almost forgot. It's fine if we can't stir fry. Go find a college student who can cook in the university town. Just say we can give him. Start training and provide pay according to the minimum wage standard. College students. It's best to have fooled him, then people will definitely come. Zhou wrote down every single item as if she had found a treasure. At this point, you're still debating the choices between the mall and the turntable. In the end, you still decided to spend 10,000 emotion points to exchange for 10 dishes in the special offer mall. Then you also bought 5 more dishes from the regular mall while you were studying the new menu. A crisp female voice rang out from the doorway. Hello. Excuse me, is anyone there? You hear a voice and walk toward the store entrance. A fresh, youthful figure appears before your eyes, and the girl in front of you looks about 18 or 19 years old. Elegant and refined, with a fresh, clean temperament. A girl this good looking still gets rejected for the first time after 2.5 years of running the shop. I wonder if this beautiful, adorable girl will cry after being punched. Will raising her emotional value give you even more? Hurry up and take back those chaotic thoughts. She smiles and greets them, welcoming customers. Just scan the QR code at the door. There are more than 20 kinds of dishes in all. For 5 yuan, you can have all you can eat meat, vegetables, and vegetarian dishes. If you're worried the dishes don't suit your taste, you can come in and take a look first. Hearing the nice voice of the young girl, he instinctively looked up. The next second, she froze. The young man in front of her was dressed very plainly, but he still couldn't hide the innate charm coming from within. The handsomeness radiating from his bones left her dazed for a few seconds. Only then did she react and say, "You don't need to go in and look. I'll eat here." Her name was Shiwei. After Shiwei paid, he asked again, "Do you need me to take you to the food market? Or should you go listen to it yourself?" The fluffy hair on Shiwei's head seemed even brighter and more vivid. "Okay, then I've caused you trouble. It's fine. Turn around and lead the way from the front. Are you the staff member here? What's going on? Is it just you? Is the boss and everyone else not here yet?" "Actually, I'm the boss of this shop. Right now, I'm the only one here, and Shiwei looked shocked and doubtful. You took her and left quickly. At the pickup area, Shiwei looked at the labels on the row of insulated boxes in front of her. Her eyes immediately lit up. Dry pot cauliflower, spicy and sour shredded potatoes, stir-fried bok choy. These were all vegetables she loved to eat, and each serving was only 5 yuan. As long as it doesn't taste so bad that I can't swallow it, I'll come here every time after tutoring Little Meng successfully. Once Little Meng's college entrance exam is over, I can even bring her here to eat. But I can't let her eat too much. Little Meng is still growing. She was thinking this over when she suddenly became a little worried. This restaurant seems to be all vegetarian dishes and not a single meat dish. People who come here often are probably worried about not getting enough nutrition. However, just as she was thinking that, she looked at the label on the next insulated box. In an instant, it made her small mouth widen again. Fried steak. Was the label for this dish placed on the wrong box? Shiwei muttered to herself. Is it possible that this isn't even real steak, but the kind sold in little roadside shops for 5 ma a bag? A tier above chili strips and soy slices. The moment the lid was opened, she completely widened her eyes. In the heat-insulated box, well over 100 pieces of steak were piled together haphazardly. In those few seconds of shock, a rich beef aroma burst forth. It rushed straight into her nose, making her appetite flare up. And this wasn't ordinary steak at all, but a premium cut among steaks. The snowflake marbling and the beef looked incredibly tempting right before her eyes. Sushi almost instinctively picked up a piece and put it on the plate. Then she turned to the next insulated box and went after the pepper and salt shrimp. Dongpo pork, spicy strips, diced chicken. After 3 full minutes of serving food, Sushi finally stood there with a plate piled into a little mountain. She sat down across from you and immediately got to work. She was the first to pick up that piece of ribeye and took a direct bite. The next second, her eyes burst with dazzling light. The steak was still tender inside, with a medium rare doneness and a browned exterior. The bite went down with almost no resistance, carrying the ultimate tenderness of the snowflake fat. It lingered between her lips and teeth as she took that bite. The rich meat juices suddenly burst in her mouth, and the sweet milky aroma unique to snowflake beef shot straight to her soul. Sushi devoured the entire steak in one fierce, tiger-like gulp, leaving nothing behind. She then went on to sweep through the other dishes. 15 minutes later, after she spat out the last shell from her mouth, only an empty plate was left in front of her. A look of utter satisfaction appeared on her face, and even her previously flat stomach now bulged slightly. She thought for a moment and then asked, Boss Shen, are you some rich second-generation kid out here to experience life? Why is that question so easy to guess? After all, the dishes here are just too delicious. I'm definitely not some rich second-generation heir. I made all these dishes myself. Hearing you say that, Sushi couldn't help sizing you up again. You really do look handsome. Your personality is funny and charming, and your cooking is even better. If there really was such a perfect man in this world, then Sushi would probably be tempted to throw herself at him. A loud crash suddenly came from the door. Shen Ge, I'm here, just got through the door. When she was startled by Sushi's looks the next second, she seemed to suddenly realize something and slapped her thigh. I'm going to Shen Ge. You're really clever. If we keep streaming like this, there'll definitely be no one watching. After saying that, she turned and looked at Shiwei, who was standing nearby, looking dumbfounded. He naturally and Shu Luo-like greeted her. Hello, miss, nice to meet you. Please take care of me. From now on, we're co-workers. In an instant, a few black lines appeared over your head. Zhou Peng, did you drink fake liquor before coming here? Just talk to them directly here and listen to yourself. Did you say anything humans could actually understand? Zhou Peng was left speechless too. Brother Shen, this young lady wasn't someone you brought here to do the live stream with me, was she? What are our shop fans thinking? She just happened to be here to eat. Shiwei stood up. With a faint smile, she said it didn't matter. I'm about done here, so I should be heading off. I won't keep bothering you. Before leaving, he added you on Wagyu. After Shiwei left, Zhou Peng finally came over. A few sideways glances, and he asked Shen Ji, do you know this girl? If you don't know her, you've only just met and spent a little time together. I'd estimate it's been no more than 5 minutes. Zhou Peng chuckled darkly. Brother Shen, didn't you notice? That girl has a really good impression of you. She even casually took the phone used for the live stream. He tossed it into Zhou Peng's arms, and the drunken state just wouldn't go away. So hurry up and start the live stream first. Zhou Peng continued relentlessly. You really don't believe me. Even though I cook, I'm no match for you, but I do understand girls. When it comes to this kind of thing, we are not just bragging. No matter how you put it, you can't compare to me. That girl definitely has a really good impression of you. The look in her eyes when she looked at you was very off. Seeing Zhou Peng's confident expression, you were amused too. A girl's thoughts can really be hard to predict. Are you talking about the time last year in some game when someone called their mom in charge, only to get scammed out of an entire skin set? As for being blocked and deleted afterward, that was from 2 months ago when he was dating a girl online. He kept calling people, baby, every day, and in the end, it all blew up. He found out the other person was a 260-pound tough guy, and Zhou Peng was visibly flushed red from embarrassment. Damn it, Zukian actually got me tangled up in all this nonsense, and now everyone knows about it. You took a shot of her little Zhou shoulder. Let's just focus on the live stream business. Don't think about whether we have them or not. No flirting with love-struck dogs. Then Zhou Peng finally went live for a brief half hour. The number of people in the live stream room suddenly shot up to 20,000. Everyone in the live stream room. Just give it a try and you'll know how Michelin compares to our dishes. It's completely a fish out of water. Not a fish out of water, but Shen Ji. The big brothers and sisters in the live stream room want to come by as soon as possible. It's late now, so there must be a long line. Exactly. He's blowing so hard that speed is flying everywhere. Then suddenly, a level 59 barrage comment caught his attention. Really, that's right. My son recently got hooked on eating Michelin-style food. Wait half an hour, and I'll take him over right away to change up the flavor. Zhou Peng was stunned for a moment by the level 59 comment. That's a level that only people who spend at least 20 million can reach, and they're saying they eat Michelin-style food. I guess I really wasn't exaggerating when I said this. He said quietly beside you, somewhat worried. Shen Ji, was I exaggerating too much? Hold on, if this doesn't suit someone's taste, our live stream is going to blow up. What should we do? Should we avoid the edge for a moment? You glanced at him lightly, and I avoided his edge. Zhou, can you have a little faith in our dishes? At this very moment, a luxury sedan is driving on the other side of the city. In the back seat, a teenage boy around 10 or so is holding his forehead. With a desperate expression, he looks at his mother beside him and pleads. Dear mother, can't you let me off just this once? Don't take me to eat that awful Michelin food from last time. It was mashed into a paste. One bite of the cheese and tomato pasta tasted sour, sweet, bitter, spicy, and salty all at once. The 5 flavors were so hard to swallow that I almost threw up. And that bread with the olive oil dipping sauce was as hard as a city wall. The boy, named Chen Kixun, became more and more excited as he spoke. What's even more excessive is that idiot chef who doesn't understand Chinese. If I don't finish it, he won't give me the next dish. Besides, aside from that drink that costs 50 yuan, there's nothing the same. He's longing for food that belongs within the scope of human standards. Poor little one, looking longingly at his mother, his dear mom. Can't I even be rewarded with a delicious bowl of spicy hot pot today? His mother, sister he, shook her head and let out a long sigh. This idiot really is beyond saving. Even though his mom spent a whole meal's worth of money at Michelin. That was enough to cover a fresh college graduate's monthly salary, yet this kid still kept thinking about the spicy hot pot he had eaten twice for just 20 yuan by the roadside. Frozen chicken and dirt cheap meatballs. Just thinking about it made sister he feel nauseous. What's so good about Michelin's food? Is it not only tasty? And the place is clean and hygienic. I don't know why the kid always rejects it. He had to let the kid experience a little of society's harshness and make him see it with his own eyes. The dishes sold at roadside snack bars. They're all the same kind of stuff. Sister he specifically searched online and found a small restaurant that sounded extremely unreliable. The self-service menu for 5 yuan, but it was covered in a pile of hard dishes. It's not like he's stupid, unless global prices have dropped 100-fold. Otherwise, how could 5 yuan buy all this? What's even more outrageous is that the male host in the live stream room. He even bragged to Haiku, saying the dishes in Michelin's place were. It was like a grain of driftwood in the vast sea, completely touching He Sing's reverse scale. What he played was a real, uncut live stream. He was getting ready to go offline and start pretending, guys. I was just about to say, you are the only one here eating. A guest really couldn't hold back and shouted at Zhou Peng. Seeing that he didn't react, they could only call you over. You must be the boss, right? Your guy here is live streaming. Back to live streaming audio. Shouldn't we all lower our volume a little? Otherwise, in this chat we can't even hear what the other person is saying. You only glanced once, and Zhou Peng already didn't know what kind of creature heaven and earth had brought forth. The guest in front awkwardly smiled and couldn't hold it in anymore. Brother, bear with me a bit longer and I'll have him lower the volume. Or just give you a 40% discount on this meal. That guest would be thrilled. Should I keep talking, boss? You are already calling me brother, so what else is there to say? We should speak louder too. It's not over yet, but boss. The taste of your dishes is truly incredible. I've been on your voyage for so many years. This is still the first time I've tasted something this delicious. Next time you come, we are going to Furry Edgewood. I'm asking you, little brother, please try it too. Our restaurant's signature dishes are really amazing. Man, you're really a smooth talker. After a passionate conversation, you actually came out yourself. Just as I was seeing this guest off, you were getting ready. When I turned back, a car came speeding right toward you. The passing posh Ken immediately caught your attention. Not long after, a woman came over with a little boy and walked up to you. Are you a college student working part-time at this shop? I'm the owner here. He nodded slightly and said nothing more. He led his son into the shop, paid, and then went to pick up the plate. Dear mom, does this shop have any signature dishes? He thought about it and decided to give the boy something extra spicy. I have to make sure he eats until he's suspicious of life itself, so he immediately said. Every dish in this restaurant is a signature dish. You can order whatever you want. Chen Kixun didn't know his mother's little scheme at all. He was just about to open his notebook and start writing. The moment the lid of the insulated box containing the chili salt shrimp was lifted. The piled-up shrimp, like a little mountain, instantly dazzled his eyes. At that moment, the only thing on Chen Kishan's mind was 3 words, years have gone by. He couldn't help taking a deep breath. The top-grade fresh shrimp aroma rushed straight into his lungs. He swallowed and ate the dry, flavorless mycelium he'd had for so many years. At last, he had managed to make himself hungry. He couldn't help turning to look at his mother beside him. Her eyes were shining with joy. Dear mom, you're simply amazing. How on earth did you find such a restaurant? Mom, don't worry. Didn't you always complain that I don't eat enough? Today I'm definitely going to have 3 bowls of rice. Sing won't be able to get out of bed or jump around. Looking at the chili salt shrimp in front of him, his mind was full of question marks. $5, big bro. This kind of shrimp is on you. The days are over, aren't they? He silently prayed. The best shrimp in front of him was only good looking on the outside. In reality, its meat was dry and lousy, and the taste was terrible. But the next second, Chen Kishan's exclamation exploded in his ear. Oh my gosh, this is just amazing. Mom, try this bite. These shrimp are 100 times better than the Michelin level ones. Chris looked down and instinctively turned to look beside him, only to see his son holding a plate. His eyes were full of shock and delight. He lowered his brows in surprise. Chen Kixu, how does your mom usually teach you? You have to follow the dining rules. How could you hold your plate and just stand there eating? Can't you wait until we sit down before starting? I haven't even finished speaking. A piece of shrimp had already been stuffed into the boy's mouth. The shrimp was tender and crispy. The chew gave way to the tender, succulent texture of the shrimp. Mom, how is it? Isn't it really good? This is pretty tasty, right? Xiaoxiun, hurry up and peel 2 more shrimp for mom. Just as Chen Qixiun was about to reach out, he suddenly saw a small sign at the top. Mom, look quickly, there's a little warm reminder here. Chris immediately read it aloud. Warm reminder, this is a self-service restaurant. Please take only what you can eat. Do not waste food. Violation penalty, 50. Please do not put food you've already taken onto your plate back into the warming box. Violation penalty, 50. At the bottom, there was also a small note from the owner with a kind suggestion. Please don't take too much of the same dish at once. Otherwise, you may end up too full to enjoy the other delicious dishes. Seeing this, Hsing was first stunned, then burst out laughing. This owner is young, but his attitude is insanely arrogant. What he means is that every single dish in the restaurant is on the same level of deliciousness as these shrimp. He really wants to see what gives him the confidence to make him regret it. Chen Qixiun, however, looked at the plate in his mother's hands, which already had at least 20 big shrimp on it. He immediately panicked and blurted out, "It's ruined, it's ruined, it's ruined, Mom. You've already added so many shrimp. If you wait a bit, you definitely won't be able to eat any other delicious dishes. Anyway, we're perfectly clean. If you don't believe me, go find the owner, big brother, and beg him. Ask him to agree to let you put the shrimp back." Hsing was about to be laughed at by her own son, so she just wouldn't eat it. "I just don't believe this place can really be full of treasure-level food. Even if I starve to death today, I still absolutely won't eat anything other than chili salted shrimp." Chen Qixiun looked helplessly at his own mother, who was speaking with such grand confidence and mighty force, and shook his head. "Then I'll add a few more dishes and wait a bit, Mom. If you want to eat it, you can have some from my plate." Hsing brought Chen Qixiun to the next dish, pan-fried beef steak. This is a dish most kids would like, but when they saw the name, Chen Qishan's brows immediately knitted together, while Hsing, seeing the dish, he was delighted. This was what this restaurant called a specialty. "Little guy, you need to eat more." When he heard his mother teasing him, Chen Qishan's face looked even worse. As someone who hates beef steaks, how much could he possibly hate them? Probably to the point that just hearing the words, beef steak, made him nauseous. It was simply because when he was little, he had eaten steak a few times at Mickey Line, and the experience was awful. The steak there all tasted like something that had been carefully made to look unappetizing. The absurd, strange things like cotton candy roasted steak or coffee braised steak made even the cattle themselves want to say something. The steak, roasted with cotton candy like this, made even the cattle want to say something. That dark dish of mine made him step on a landmine again and again. So his attitude towards steak completely turned into dislike after a long psychological tug of war. Chen Qixiun decided to first look at the other dishes, but secretly he had already set a rule for himself. If all the other dishes suited his taste, then he would come back and give it a try. He wanted to give the world steaks one last chance and break the magic in his heart. Hsing smiled and followed along, not at all surprised by his son's choice. In her opinion, it was already a miracle that a small restaurant could have one signature dish. As for more than that, it was already good enough just to stand on its own. Just pray they really have that capability. Why not go big and strong? Why insist on quietly developing in such a small place? Besides, he had already been here for so long, and he hadn't seen any other customers at all. As soon as that thought came to mind, it felt as if heaven itself was insisting on slapping him across the face. Suddenly, several rough but hearty voices sounded at the door. "Shopkeeper Shen, we are here to congratulate you on your new shop opening." 3 migrant workers were standing outside the door, pretending to be a bunch of people. What shocked Hsing was that you actually took the initiative to walk over quickly. And then she chatted warmly with these 3 workers about all sorts of things. He was too lazy to listen, but it was obvious. Your attitude toward these people is completely different. This surprised him a bit, as a restaurant owner. Instead of fighting with the working class people, customers driving luxury cars ended up ganging up with them. This young shopkeeper Shen really is a strange person. You let the 3 of them in with the gold plaque, while listening to the reminder sound echoing in your mind once again. The mood was quite wonderful, from the moment Hsing and her son entered the store until now. In less than 10 minutes, you've already gained plenty from them. 5,000 plus in emotional value, President Shen. You're really something. Just look at this big restaurant. And you even brought a photographer. What's not to like? If my girl could be as promising as Shen, I'd be happy. I'm afraid I'd be grinning in my sleep. You flatter me too much, Secretary Jin. You smiled, and then immediately asked. Right, Secretary Jin. I was just wondering when I saw you at the door. Why is it just the 3 of you here today, Uncle Zhou? Hearing that, the expressions on Secretary Jin's 3 companions changed at once. Uncle Zhou has really helped you a lot. When you first opened the restaurant, you didn't have the budget for expenses. When you were scrambling to cover the 300 yuan water and electricity bill, Uncle Zhou was the one who stepped in to help you. In the first month after you opened, you didn't have many customers. It was also Uncle Zhou who promoted your place every day and brought his co-workers to support your business. Secretary Jin was silent for a moment before lowering his voice and saying, Old Zhou even kept the rest of us in the dark and went to sell blood. Your pupils contracted sharply. Trigger side mission, dripping water of gratitude. Quest details, report from the spring fountain. Help Zhou Qian resolve the difficult situation. Quest reward, random cash reward, 100,000 to 1 million. Random emotional value reward, 10,000 to 50,000. Random seafood dish, 100 points. At this moment, you have no time at all to pay attention to the system prompt. You still listen to Secretary Jin recounting the past, and the Dragon Pulse was from the weekend 2 days ago. Last weekend, Uncle Zhou's granddaughter, who had just started elementary school, was diagnosed with a rare congenital heart disease. The only treatment was a transplant surgery, and even that meant putting the old family house up as collateral. The medical bill still had a 300,000 yuan shortfall. With no other choice, Uncle Zhou could only resort to selling blood. Fortunately, it was discovered in time, and his condition didn't become serious. Damn it, heaven is really unfair to good people. You clenched your fists and fell silent for a few seconds. You took a deep breath and said, "Don't worry, Secretary Jin, leave this to me. You go in and eat first. I'll contact Uncle Zhou in a moment." Secretary Jin hurriedly bowed repeatedly, flustered. "Seo Shen, that's not what we mean. All of us, including old Zhou, know that you've just opened a new shop. You probably don't have any spare money on hand. Don't worry, Secretary Jin. I've got money now, and live streaming is making me money." You pointed out Zhou Peng, not far away. "Look at me now, I'm even doing live streams for old acquaintances. This gimmick can make money, and besides, I didn't get this money from Zhou Shu for nothing. It was borrowed. Jin Shu, just follow the direction your finger is pointing and look." Seeing Zhou Peng, who was staring at his phone and frantically sketching the jewelry he was wearing, he was finally delighted and nodded. "Well, I did hear that live streaming really does make money, haha. Then let's thank old Zhou first, and thank Mr. Shen. What a loss for Mr. Shen. Now old Zhou can finally get a good night's sleep." Several people went into the main hall to eat, while you sat back down in your seat. Drinking rice wine and munching on dried noodles, he wondered how he was supposed to talk to Zhou Shu. At that moment, the familiar notification sound rang out again, and emotion surged dramatically. What exactly did Chen Kixun eat over there to trigger such a strong emotional reaction from this young master from Hangzhou? It was as if he had never eaten anything good before, and in no time at all he was back to being 10 minutes earlier. Seeing the table full of dishes in front of him, He-Sing couldn't help rolling his eyes. "You little brat, when you were in Michigan, I didn't see you eat this much. To be honest, Mom only eats the shrimp and meat over here. I won't take a bite of the meat or vegetables on your side to help you eat." Hearing his mom chop things up with a kitchen knife, Chen Kixun merely nodded vaguely. Sniffing the fresh shrimp aroma drifting from the platter, He-Sing couldn't help but unwrap the fragrant lotus root pieces. After swallowing more than a dozen in a row, he nodded in satisfaction. But when he looked at the bowl and saw that the rice barely moved at all, he frowned again. The plump shrimp was delicious, but the flavor ended up being a bit one note. If you don't really eat anything with your meal, it's bound to be a bit dry. At that moment, a faint, continuous sound suddenly came from across the room. A hissing laugh, full of satisfaction, came from Chen Kixun. "You forgot the rules again. How many times has Mom told you? When eating, keep it down and don't make any noise. And can you please clean the sauce off the corner of your mouth?" Everyone else looked on awkwardly as Chen Kixun paused. He sheepishly wiped his mouth and glanced at her, but his eyes were full of satisfaction. Only then did He-Sing finally see clearly what the child was eating. The Dongpo pork was the half piece he had separated with his chopsticks. The sauce was rich and thick, glossy and mouth-watering. He-Sing couldn't help swallowing. His gaze finally became resolute. Even answering took Chen Kixun so much effort that he couldn't even express how delicious it was. It was just too delicious. The chef at this restaurant is amazing. In short, as a foodie, it's hard to find words to describe how delicious this place is. If his usual appetite is 2 bowls of rice, his limit is 4 bowls. The dishes at Michelin made him stop after 1 bowl. He didn't even want another bite of the spicy hot pot. But this place let him happily eat 3 bowls. So for him, this restaurant's show-off worthy 5 bowls of rice still weren't enough. Just as he was getting ready to add another half portion of braised pork belly, his chopsticks were suddenly blocked. That half portion of braised pork belly was intercepted by another pair of chopsticks. In the blink of an eye, it was snatched away, and he was instantly furious. But the moment he saw the owner of those chopsticks, his anger immediately died down. "Damn, your face looks a little puffy. Did you do that to yourself?" He Zhengying was just about to put that piece of braised pork into his mouth when Wenyan raised her eyebrows. "How are you talking to Mom? No manners at all. I was worried you might not be able to finish all those dishes, so I am helping you avoid wasting food. Isn't this for the sake of my good son? That's why Mom doesn't like eating braised pork." Seeing his son's amused but not quite amused expression, he quickly stuffed the piece of braised pork into his mouth. The next second, his mind was nearly a blank. The marvelous aroma of the braised pork, with its rich meatiness and sauce fragrance, spread through every layer of his brain. It lingered for a long time and was hard to shake off. At the same time, his right hand seemed to move on its own. He quickly grabbed a big clump of rice and put it into his mouth. The sweetness of the rice and the savory meat flavor mixed together. His chewing speed, too, went from slow, careful tasting at the beginning to faster and faster. He ended up taking one bite after another. Just like that, the half portion of braised pork belly was gone, and even the bowl of rice was completely wiped clean by him. On He Shang's face, a satisfied look appeared from time to time, as if she and her son were enjoying a meal together. A few seconds later, he finally came back to his senses, and the expression on his face stiffened. What was I just doing? Why am I like this? And that half portion of braised pork belly. He ate the whole bowl of rice with it. For an outstanding dish like braised pork belly, the highest compliment is to pair it with a serving of meat and a bowl of rice. There's no doubt that this braised pork belly before him had effortlessly achieved exactly that level of satisfying appeal. Compared with these so-called rice-pairing dishes from Michelin, it suddenly seemed bland and tasteless. He Shang's mood became incredibly complicated, and the proud Michelin he had always admired had clearly and thoroughly been crushed by this little roadside restaurant. Seeing his son act so happy and dazed, he was stunned. He would often sigh, because he had originally brought his child to this roadside restaurant. His plan to use junk food to make the child fall in love with Michelin again had completely failed. Clearly, after this, the child would never accompany him to eat Michelin again. However, after looking around the restaurant, a satisfied smile appeared on his face again. Maybe in the future, this place could also replace Michelin as his usual dining spot. At this point, Chen Kixun had already finished all the leftover food and dishes, and his stomach was full. But he still seemed able to squeeze down another steak if he tried. After taking 2 or 3 steps, he opened the lid of the insulated box containing the sirloin steak. He picked up a piece of steak, put it on the plate, and quickly returned to his seat. He Siling looked a little surprised at the child. You really do. Chen Kixun used his chopsticks to hold the steak in place. He was just wondering whether to put it in his mouth when suddenly a burst of meaty aroma rushed into his nostrils, and he felt no physical discomfort at all. An unbelievable expression of delight appeared on his face, and a few seconds later, that whole piece of steak was swallowed into his stomach, delicious. He even wanted to cry from how good it tasted. Chen Kixun stood there in a daze for a moment. He suddenly stood up and said, Little brat, what are you doing? I'll go get another steak for He Siling. Looking at the child, he clearly, Mom often brings you here, that's all. Chen Kixun looked ecstatic. Really, Mom, can I come here and eat every day this month? He Siling pretended to think about it for a moment. As long as you can finish your food. Chen Kixun could no longer hold back his excitement and hugged He Siling tightly. Mom is amazing. Mr. Shen, I need to apologize to you first. He Siling stood in front of you, a look of apology on her face. Actually, when I first came to eat at your restaurant, I did so with a doubtful attitude, trying to see if it was a scam. Look at her and smile. It's okay, my restaurant welcomes all guests who have doubts. The quality of these dishes at your place, selling for only 5 yuan, is really such a loss. Aside from having fewer varieties, there's really nothing to complain about the taste. Selling them for 5,000 yuan each, I still think that's not too much. He Siling paused and said seriously. If you're willing, I can invest 10 million to help you build up your brand awareness. And help Shen establish himself in the high-end dining sector, with a valuation of 888.81 million. I believe it won't take more than a few years. Not only can you recover your costs, but you can also definitely grow big and strong. Thank you for your kindness, but for now I don't have any plans to enter the high-end dining sector. And I'm not going to change the 5 yuan price. Just take a look at the scholars in your gold booklet. Each of them only has a few vegetarian dishes on their plates. No matter how many times you've tried to persuade them, these honest workers still refuse to touch those better braised dishes. The scholars have said before, Boss Shen, if you're willing to provide unlimited delicious vegetarian dishes for us so we can eat our fill, we'd already be extremely grateful. If we still had to eat that high-priced braised dish from Boss Shen, we really couldn't bring ourselves to do it. He Siling didn't say much else, only let out a silent sigh in her heart. This young Boss Shen really isn't bad, but unfortunately, he just doesn't have much business sense. This restaurant's final scale is probably only about this big. Then I won't keep you. My son is probably at the end of his rope on the bus too. I'll be heading off now. You sent He Siling out the door, then returned to your seat and continued observing what was going on over by Uncle Zhou. Suddenly, Zhou Peng, who was nearby, let out a ghost-crying, wolf-howling scream. Whoa, thanks to Sister He in the northwest for the 100 years of glory. I wish Sister He long life and eternal youth, that she may always wake up early and never lose sleep. The family in the livestream room started spamming, Boss is awesome. Boss 666. 1 year of glory is 3,100 yuan. 100 years of glory is a full 310,000 yuan. The viewer in the livestream room was stunned as well. Boss, the livestream room has too many people riding the wave. The moderators can't ban them all. Host, there are too many people trying to ride the momentum in the livestream room. We can't block them all. So I directly reported the livestream room and got the whole thing shut down. Did I do the right thing? And among all those anti-troll bullet comments, Sister He in the northwest sent 4 in a row, with eye-catching messages worth 4,000 yuan. The livestream room fell silent for 10 seconds, and all the viewers were digesting this information. A few seconds later, question marks started floating across the screen. Did I hear that right, madam? What did you just say? What did you eat at the self-service restaurant in Wuyong? Pan-fried steak. You smiled at the camera in the livestream room. Thank you, Sister He, for the 100 years of glory. Sister He, next time, tell me in advance. When you get off the luxury car, I'll hold an umbrella for you. The viewer in the livestream room immediately burst into chatter. Mr. Shen, can you do it or not? He just tipped so much, and you are only going to hold an umbrella for her. Forget about holding an umbrella. Even if you stepped on my face with your shoes on, I wouldn't mind. What good thing up there has not already been claimed by you? Madam, could you take a look at me? A 19-year-old man really doesn't want to work so hard anymore. He sent 2 more bullet screens. Mainly because your place uses high-quality ingredients, and the food tastes great. I only paid 5 yuan, yet I still feel guilty somehow. If you really want to thank me, just don't quit. A portion of today's steak is enough. My son especially loves it. Just give the camera a thumbs up and relax. There's enough steak for everyone. On the other side is the first hospital. Oh no, this is really bad. Zhu Haiying rushed into the ward in a fluster, looking panicked, and Zhang Jiancheng was like a machine. Something weird is going on. Has someone come to stir up trouble at our place? It has nothing to do with our place. It's the 5 yuan self-service restaurant next door. You believe that? There's a white car parked at the entrance of that restaurant. I even went online and checked the prices. It costs at least several million. Zhang Jiancheng's eyes widened. How much? Tell me in detail. What exactly is going on? I saw the owner of that restaurant next door with my own eyes. The woman owner got into that car. The two of them were even chatting and laughing. Judging by her age, she's probably around 40, so she should be her older sister. Or maybe an aunt or something. Zhang Jiancheng had looked a little panicked at first, but then he suddenly broke into a smile. What are you laughing at? The landlord next door is clearly a rich second-generation kid. Are we supposed to be outdone by them? And you're still laughing like that? Zhu Haiying didn't react at all, while Zhang Jiancheng ignored his wife's complaints and said smugly. No wonder people always say women mature earlier than men. Let me ask you, when you've been running a restaurant for so many years, what matters most? Is it the taste of the dishes? Is it whether customers Eat happily and feel satisfied. Does the restaurant owner have to be a rich second-generation kid? It has nothing to do with whether you have money or not. Leaning against the hospital bed, he lifted his lame leg and continued analyzing. And now, to be honest, if the landlord next door really is a rich second-generation kid, that's actually a good thing. Which rich second-generation kid isn't just there to show off with Ferraris and sports cars? Who would put their mind to a restaurant? Did he call someone from his family to show off for him? That only proves that he has no confidence in his dishes. Trust your husband's judgment. It won't be long before he closes down for good, and then the shop will naturally go under on its own. Zhou Haiying's eyes lit up when she heard this. Still, husband, you're smart. How could I not understand this logic? Zhang Jiancheng looked pleased for a moment. Said, waving his hand grandly, don't mind the landlord. That old geezer has no reason to stay in the restaurant anymore. As for us, we don't need to threaten him. Let him come and go of his own accord. Right, I asked you to bring a college student here to cook for us. Did you get someone? Zhou Haiying patted her chest and said, don't worry. We've already found someone. It's a pretty little girl too, and her name sounds nice. What was it again? Shiwei. By 7 p.m. that evening, you had smilingly sent off the last batch of customers, and the huge restaurant was left with only you alone. He opened the system panel and checked his current emotion points, 43,980 remaining, with a total accumulated amount of emotion points of 97,980. To reach the 100,000 emotion points needed to complete the mission, he was only a little over 2,000 short. Today, Zhou Peng's livestream brought you quite a few new customers, so several popular dishes had already sold out, including the delicious Dongpo pork and the luxurious braised pork trotters, shrimp and egg fried rice, and tender, savory water-boiled sliced pork. These were only dishes you had made 100 or so portions of, and by this afternoon they were all sold out. What you never expected was that the 100 servings of pan-fried beef steaks bought in the special offer mall were also sold out. All I can say is that you really underestimated the appeal of 5 yuan self-service beef steaks. Right now, many people have only two attitudes toward food: either the price is too high, so high that I have to try to taste it at least once, or the price is absurdly low, in which case whatever you eat, you have to say, this really clears out the intestines. A proper beef steak that can be eaten for just a few yuan. In diners' minds, its status is no less than a huge bottle of iced black tea from an iced town convenience store. You thought it over for a moment. Dongpo pork is something old Master Zhou likes to eat, so it has to be restocked. Pan-fried beef steaks have already been answered for. There's always a Hess Film Club, and of course we can't be without it. After thinking it over, you decided to go for a draw in the mood-changing roulette, and on the 30th spin, you really hit Dongpo pork and pan-fried steak. Each had a full 500 servings, and there were also 3 new dishes: spicy braised pork belly, chili dried tofu, and a northeast-style hard vegetable dish. Looking at these 3 dishes, each with such strong regional character, you could only feel that your restaurant had become much more down to earth all of a sudden. Just when you were getting ready for another 10 consecutive pulls, the door was suddenly pushed open, and in came a couple in their 20s. Judging from how they looked, they seemed to be having an argument. Baby, listen to me. Actually, that's not what I meant. No, the king ate chant scripture. The girl was named Lin Keke. She turned her head to the side, pouting as she huffed and shrugged off his shoulder. She shook her boyfriend Fang Chen's hand off her shoulder, and she was indeed annoyed. Lin Keke was a junior, while her boyfriend Fang Chen was a senior about to graduate. The two of them rented an apartment together off campus. Today, Lin Keke personally braved the hardships of cooking and made several dishes for her boyfriend. She even opened a bottle of red wine, thinking she would take good care of him tonight. As a result, when that nasty man came home and had just taken a couple of bites, the first thing out of his mouth was, "Baby, I asked you before, are you especially good at cooking?" Lin Keke said shyly at the time. Shishi, not really. Then why are you doing this? A simple sentence, and she was directly offended. But the result of all this fuss was that Fang Chen agreed to take her out for some crayfish as a guest. However, when she went downstairs, she found that the little diner where they usually ate crayfish, Lao Zhang's stir-fry restaurant, had closed early today. So the two of them ended up walking into the neighboring 5 yuan self-serve restaurant next door. Next door to the stir-fry restaurant. To be honest, when Lin Keke and Fang Chen saw the name of this restaurant, they didn't have high hopes for it at all. After all, it only costs 5 yuan, so you can't really expect much in terms of taste. As long as it fills you up, that's enough. However, when they stepped through the door, they found that in the huge restaurant, besides the young man, there wasn't a single other customer, and their expectations for the place dropped a little more. Fang Chen looked at his girlfriend with a somewhat disappointed expression, silently calculating his remaining salary for last month. He hesitated for a moment, then leaned over and whispered in Lin Keke's ear. "Baby, haven't you always wanted to try that newly opened grilled fish place? Why don't we go eat there today? This place really doesn't look very reliable." A clear flash of delight passed through Lin Keke's eyes, but after hesitating for a moment, she still shook her head. "Forget it. I heard that grilled fish there costs 200 or 300. You're still in an internship now, and my tutoring job isn't very stable either. We should save money where we can." Fang Chen was moved. "It's fine. If you want to eat it, we'll go." Lin Keke waved her hand and walked toward you. It's okay. Let's wait a few days. And go eat grilled fish when we celebrate our 2nd anniversary. Fang Chen also stopped insisting and said seriously. "Okay, once I make big money in the future, we can eat grilled fish if we want to eat grilled fish. And eat crayfish if we want to eat crayfish. We should also go try the place near my company together. To see what the Michelin restaurant really tastes like. I heard our company boss often goes there to eat." At this point, Lin Keke has already walked up to you. "Hello, may I ask if you are the owner of this restaurant? Could I ask what dishes you have in your restaurant?" "I am the owner of this restaurant. I'm really sorry, it's a bit late today and some dishes may already be sold out. The new dish you just drew hasn't had time to be added to the menu yet. And to avoid wasting the feelings of these two people in front of you, you immediately said, how about this, could I give you both a 20% discount? Lin KK is caught in a dilemma again. She thought to herself, for a 5 yuan buffet, I figured there probably wasn't much to begin with. And now some of it has already been sold out. So the remaining 80% aren't very tasty anyway. You can see her hesitation. And continued, let's see, now it looks like only tender beef. Purple potato ribs, pepper salted shrimp, and bamboo shoot stir-fried pork are left among these dozen or so dishes. Lin KK immediately widened her eyes. And Fang Chen also came over at this moment. Naturally having heard what you said, she asked somewhat hesitantly, boss, you, this little Shen, a 5 yuan self-service restaurant. Is it really the kind where you can eat your fill for just 5 yuan? It shouldn't be, right? Your shop is called Shen, 5 yuan, but the price isn't actually 5 yuan. This is all such a mess. You're pointed at the doorway. Did you see that QR code? Each person pays 4 yuan, and then they can go pick up the food. Take whatever you want. After Fang Chen paid, she walked with Lin KK to the pickup area, where insulated boxes with all kinds of labels appeared right before them. As soon as the lid was opened, the aroma of meat hit them head on, making the two of them suck in a breath of cool air in unison. A delighted look once again appeared in Lin KK's eyes. She never expected the little lobster wouldn't even get to eat, and instead would lead her to such a treasure of a restaurant. When she smelled that enticing aroma, she suddenly had a feeling of bitter hardship paying off. But Fang Chen's thoughts were completely different from hers. This really seems like something that should be in a 5 yuan self-service restaurant. She loves horror novels, and all kinds of terrifying plots suddenly sprang to life in her mind. She's now seriously suspicious. This is a shady place that probably puts drugs in the food. And once the two of them are drugged, they might be sold off to the far north to work in the mines. Thinking of that, she quietly turned back and glanced at you, and her heart skipped a beat. There you were, sitting in your seat, smiling at them. After spotting her gaze, you were completely calm, even nodding slightly at her in acknowledgement, with an undisguised look of anticipation on your face. And she could even see a hint of urgency in your eyes. What exactly are you waiting for? And what are you in such a hurry for? Something's not right, very much not right. Fang Chen, who left for a moment, immediately stopping Lin KK from reaching out to pick up her food. With a solemn expression, he said in a low voice, baby, don't eat yet, I suspect there's something wrong with this place. Far away, you see KK Lin, putting down the chopsticks she'd been holding, ready to pick up some food. And she couldn't help but feel a little anxious. You had just received 1,500 shock value points from this couple. And you were only 700 points away from completing the third main mission. So why were you still holding back? Was it because the shrimp wasn't tempting enough? Or because the ribs weren't fragrant anymore? It was almost 7:30 already, and you were still thinking about going home to catch the latest food show. I already told you, stop reading those horror novels. Look at you, this isn't delusional paranoia, what is it? After hearing her boyfriend's explanation, KK Lin let out a helpless sigh. Her boyfriend's train of thought wasn't something a normal person could come up with. It's only a little past 7, and it's not even midnight yet, and the streets outside are still packed with people. Besides, this street of ours has such good public security, so stop acting like some bully wandering around all day, okay? And this boss is so young, he doesn't seem like a bad person. If you're still not Fang Chen, then I'll try a bite first. You try not to eat it first. That should make you feel better, right? Fang Chen suddenly got anxious. Then what are we supposed to do? I'm a man. How could I let you take risks for me? What happened? Before he could finish speaking, Lin KK had already picked up a piece of golden, crispy spare rib. Pinching the bone in the middle, she brought it to her mouth and took a small bite. Then Lin KK, with a smile, while chewing, mumbled through clenched teeth, saying, it's fine. You are a good person in every way. Exactly. Sometimes, Grandma and Mom stop halfway through complaining, and the smile on her face suddenly froze. Fang Chen saw his girlfriend stop chewing mid-sentence, and those eyes that suddenly widened in shock, and immediately asked anxiously, baby, what's wrong with you? Is there something wrong with the ribs? I'll just call right now. Lin KK is a total foodie, but Fang Chen had never seen her let it show like this when she ate something before. Eating something so hard to eat, even making exaggerated faces and sticking out her tongue, eating something so delicious, and still smiling and nodding all the while, and then even digging in with a few words of praise. This expression, Fang Chen had never seen before. That only made him even more certain of his guess. But just as she was about to reach for her phone, Lin KK grabbed her arm. Dude, there's nothing wrong with these ribs, Lin KK said anxiously. Fang Chen couldn't figure out what was going on. Lin KK hurriedly swallowed, and waited until the tender meat on that crispy outer layer had turned soft and flaky in her mouth, before the flavor was fully released. Only then did she reluctantly swallow it down. Then she said earnestly and emotionally, it's because these ribs are just so delicious. Oh, how should I put it? How can I describe their taste to you? Lin KK racked her brains, constantly searching through her pitifully small vocabulary. And if she was still in high school, she would probably have used phrases like, fragrant on the lips and teeth, and a time-honored delicacy. This kind of thing should exist only in heaven. Words that mortals rarely get the chance to use to describe it. But she was already a junior in college, and apart from delicious and dad, she couldn't think of any other words at all. Ugh, she couldn't describe it. Anyway, you just have to take a bite to know. She had never tasted ribs this good in her life. And after saying that, she picked up the rib in her hand and took a small bite, handing it to her boyfriend's mouth. Have a taste. Gently, Fang Chen instinctively raised a hand to refuse. She still hadn't completely shaken off her suspicion about this restaurant. Even if the ribs tasted amazing, that still didn't prove there was no medicine in them. It was like a group of people going out drinking. In the end, there has to be one person who stays sober. since KK had already eaten the ribs. Then she had to be the one to stay sober. But then she suddenly remembered that last week, because she refused to let KK bite into the ice cream she'd already eaten, she had spent 2 full days coaxing her before finally making it up to her. So she hesitated again, not knowing how to refuse. Just then, a mixed fragrance of natural meat aroma and spicy chili burst forth, as if from her left brain to her right, trying to take control of her brain by force. The rich aroma of meat, blended with the freshness of nature and the heat of chili, attacked her nostrils without mercy. Fang Chen, who was always hard to move, was stirred by it. Today, Fang Chen was already eating later than usual. She had almost no resistance at all, and couldn't last even half a second. But her craving for good food ultimately overpowered her reason, and she just bit down hard on that rib bone, which had everyone drooling, and tore off a huge chunk of meat. How could this not be delicious? She chewed twice, and almost instinctively said that sentence. But a few seconds later, she suddenly came to her senses, and a cold sweat broke out on her forehead. Not the kind from heat, but because she suddenly realized, this really could be a black shop, and then wouldn't she and KK be totally done for? But that fear only lasted for a moment, and was immediately cured by the food. Delicious, really delicious. How could it be this delicious? Even if it's their last meal, it doesn't seem like a loss anymore. Jiang Chen nodded absent-mindedly, and his eyes gradually became more resolute. One bite is the same as countless bites. Since it's already out in the open, then there's no need to worry so much. She picked up another rib bone, bit the meat off, and tossed the bone into the empty plate. While chewing, she said to Lin Keke with her mouth not very clear, "Let's add some more dishes, and eat our fill today." Lin Keke, following her example, also picked up a rib bone, and stuffed her little mouthful. He responded vaguely. Meanwhile, you also stood up. A smile appeared on your face. Just now, the familiar system prompt rang in your mind. Detected host, successfully collected 100,000 emotion points. Main quest, 300,000. Emotion points for shock from the mundane world, 567. Emotion points for fear from the mundane world, 666. Emotion points for satisfaction from the mundane world, 999. Looking at these 3 different emotion values, you wondered whether something strange had gotten mixed in. It was just a meal, after all. Who can tell me how these fear emotion points are generated? But these are all minor details. If you can't figure it out, then don't think about it. As the saying goes, when you know there are tigers in the mountain, don't go to the mountain. Who cares where the fear emotion points came from? Usable emotion points are good emotion points. You immediately check the system rewards, as well as the new main quest, thinking that the new main quest would be unlocked for you. Main quest 4, accumulate a total of 500,000 emotion points. Quest completion reward, just as you expected. The main quest is still to collect emotion points, except that this time the amount is indeed a bit excessive. At a daily intake of 20,000 to 30,000 points of emotional value, it would still take at least half a month to finish. Now, we can only pin our hopes on Zhou Peng's terrifying live streaming ability, which can bring you more new customers. For a moment, you suddenly felt a story-like sense of drama, as if you were drawing new users with one slash of the knife. The main quest is complete, 3 out of 3. Reward 1, a top spec Maybach, A4680. Reward 2, I'm a Little Lobster, the first lead king, an event experience card. 1. You look at the Maybach key that appeared out of thin air in your hand, and an irresistible delight rises in your heart. A smile involuntarily appears on your face. You naturally know this Maybach brand, the top luxury model under Mercedes-Benz. The Maybach S680 is impossible to get for less than 3 to 4 million, let alone a top spec one. Conservatively estimated, its market value is around 5 million. You are already very satisfied. You never expected the system to just hand you a Rolls-Royce or Lamborghini, a supercar worth tens of millions. After all, you have to take things one bite at a time. Nothing happens all at once. The Maybach has already far exceeded your expectations. Starting tomorrow at the earliest, you won't need to take a car to and from work anymore. After all these months, you look again at reward 2, especially the words, I'm a Little Lobster, first lead king. And you stare for a long while. After studying it carefully, your expression gradually becomes serious. You didn't understand. 3 minutes later, you've only now figured out the specifics of this reward from the system. In short, you can launch a 3-day shrimp feast event for little lobsters, with the system providing 300 servings of little lobster each day. And one of those servings contains a 200-gram lobster, made entirely of pure gold. Every day, one lucky person will win this grand prize. And when this 3-day event is over, you'll also get your own reward, a 1000-gram pure gold lobster. Of course, for you, the main purpose of this event is still to boost your restaurant's reputation and popularity. And popularity means emotional value. And with emotional value, you can unlock more dishes and attract more customers. Clearly, this is a virtuous cycle. But when should this shrimp feast event pass be used? Your fingers subconsciously tapped lightly on the table. Lost in thought, I need to go to the hospital and see Uncle Joe tomorrow, and give him the 300,000 on the bank card, so Uncle Joe can feel at ease. And also to complete the system side quest. Then let's use the pass the day after tomorrow. That happens to be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 3 days of events. And it won't take up your weekend rest time. I really am a genius. After sending Fang Chen and Lin Keke off, the 2 little sweethearts who had eaten to their heart's content, you simply cleaned up the restaurant a bit, then closed up and went home. You've arrived at the neighborhood, and according to the system prompt, you found your own black Mercedes-Benz S680 in the underground parking garage. Looking at the luxury car in front of you, with every part of it exuding an extravagant aura, you decisively took out the key and opened the door, and got into the driver's seat, feeling the comfort wrapped in genuine leather seats, and switched on the ambient light strip inside the car, made of 253 LEDs arranged in a star ring. That sense of anticipation, the engine, that's the romance unique to men. You spent 10 minutes in the car, and when you thought of the variety show you still hadn't watched, you reluctantly got out of the car again. "See you, Shen." Just as you closed the car door, you heard a somewhat familiar voice, And when you turned around, it really was someone you knew. Sister Fang, what a coincidence. You just got back from buying groceries. That's right, the woman in front of you looked about 35 or 36. And she was carrying a large black plastic bag in her hand. She was the landlady of your 20 square meter little restaurant, as well as the owner of the rental apartment where you currently live. It's nothing strange running into Sister Fang here. After all, you two live in the same building, and the elevator in this building is in the basement, so the two of you would run into each other from time to time. What puzzled you was that it was already 8 o'clock at night. Wasn't it a bit too late to be out buying groceries at this hour? However, Sister Fang didn't answer you, and instead pointed to the Mercedes-Benz behind you. She blinked and gave a little smile, saying, somewhat skeptically, Shen, this is your car, you should think it over. There's really nothing to hide. She nodded slightly, seeing you admit it. Sister Fang moved a little closer, and flashed a smile as bright as magnesium light. Only then did she say with a grin, in this day and age, is running a restaurant really that profitable? If that fool of a son of mine grows up, and can make even half as much money as you, Shen, I'd be laughing so hard I couldn't close my mouth. She said with a modest smile. I was just lucky. The dishes I made were just right for the customer's taste. And before Sister Fang could say anything else, you quickly changed the subject. Sister Fang, is there seafood in this bag of yours? I can still see it moving. Sister Fang let out a sigh. Oh, don't mention it. Isn't it just my little boy? I made him a whole table full of dishes, but he wouldn't eat them. He insisted on eating little lobsters, and said he wouldn't eat the ones sold in outside shops. He said the ones from the restaurant didn't taste good, and that he only wanted to eat what I cooked. Kids these days, day after day, they're really hard to deal with. Have you met Sister Fang's son? He's still a 3rd grader in elementary school. He's even fought a few times with others. So he really is quite rowdy. You really have no experience with raising kids, so you can't offer any advice. But Sister Fang clearly just wants someone to vent to. At times like this, just smile and nod. Sister Fang is still having a rough time. You have no idea how troublesome kids are these days. You came to our place and had a meal, and you already know about my sister's cooking skills, like making chicken wings, or prawns with no shells. I really can't handle this little lobster. As she was talking, she suddenly seemed to think of something, and her eyes lit up. Seeing her like that, you immediately had a bad feeling. Sure enough, Sister Fang's next words were, hey, Shen, you run a restaurant. You should know how to make this kind of lobster, right? Why don't you come help my sister out? Just in time, your brother Cheng has been thinking about treating you to a couple of drinks all day. How about it? I'll treat you to a meal another day. Your brain is racing at full speed, and you have to come up with a reason to tactfully turn her down and leave. Honestly, you really do know how to make little lobsters. Basically just soak them in lightly salted water, then take them out, scrub the belly and the head clean, and stir fry and simmer them until they're cooked through. This way, it's sure to be edible, but it definitely won't taste good. If you want it to taste good, make it with small lobster. The most important thing, besides the meat, is the seasoning. You don't have any knowledge reserve at all. Even after looking up recipes online, like God and God ladle, you still may not be able to make that flavor. Thinking of that, you immediately said, sorry, sis, that really was embarrassing. I've known Zhou Peng for a long time. Your acting has improved too. The expression on your face just now was spot on, showing 3 parts concern, 3 parts apology, and 4 parts regret. Sister Fang didn't doubt it for a second. She smiled and waved her hand. It's fine, it's fine. Next time, I'll get to try your skills as a chef, sir. You also smiled. Actually, this Saturday will do. Sister Fang, I haven't even told you yet. I've opened a new shop. We're having a small lobster event from Wednesday to Friday. When the time comes, you can bring brother Chen and Zijun with you. There'll even be a chance to win a big prize. Send the restaurant's location over. That naturally drew another round of sighs and compliments from Sister Fang. But when she thought about how you'd already become a raving fan of Mobaha, opening a new restaurant seemed only reasonable. Don't worry, Shen, sister will definitely come support you when the time comes. Seeing Sister Fang leave, you finally let out a sigh of relief. You sat in the car for a while longer, and then took the elevator back home. Looks like it's time to get to work and prepare to